let's say. That's one way to do bullet points. The other way to do bullet points is if you have like a special character in a font, which is the bullet point, then you can just copy it. So in that case, you can use character map. Hold on, it's Windows 7, so it's and it's running, it's recording all these things at the same time. So there we go. This looks like something that could be used as a dot, so you can just copy it. Oops. Copy it over here, and then once you have one, then you just copy and paste. Yeah, there you go. So it's here. See it? So if you had placed it at the beginning of the line, then you would get bullet points. So once again, Control X, and then if you want to make one bullet point after the other, result 1. Something like that to create these bullet points. Okay, so that's pretty it's pretty straightforward. Sometimes you need to, when you're writing scientific text, you need to add an exponent. For example, if I write d squared or r squared, so this should be an exponent, this 2 over here. So to make that, there's a couple of different ways. Depending on the font, the easiest way, if it's one of those fonts which supports OpenType, is to select the OpenType palette. This one is in Window, Type, and OpenType. And then you can set the position to superscript. Unfortunately, Arial doesn't support it, but there are other fonts which do. I think Myriad supports it. Yeah, there you go. So, fortunately, not every font actually supports it. The other option, if you're in a font which doesn't support exponents through this OpenType mechanism, is to go into Character, and then you just select the exponent in question, and then you make it smaller, and then you make it higher. And there you go. As far as doing equations, sometimes you need symbols, so my usual way of doing it is going to the character map and then, you know, copying and pasting. So for example, you have all these Greek letters, or you could install a Greek keyboard and do it that way. Actually, Theo is Greek, so that's why that's funny. Yep. Now, where are we on time? Okay, that's all right. You can create multiple columns with text that flows. So I'm going to generate a lot of text. So sometimes when you don't actually have the results, but you just want to look at what it'll look like once you add in the results. You want to use dummy text, right? So the standard dummy text that graphic designers use is lorem ipsum. So here's 5 paragraphs of lorem ipsum. See, the problem is that once you write things like these, then you get into issues, you know, because it's not really going to look like that. Because in real text, you know, you have spaces. So sometimes this looks odd, but in the real case it will look fine. Okay, so you click and you drag to create one text column, and Control V, like so, to add in the text. And now we want to make text columns. Okay, so this little red thing is what does the trick. So you click. What did I do wrong? Ah, there you go. Boom. Okay, sorry. Let me redo that again. you have to click at the right spot. But right, so just like click on this little thing, on this little plus thing,
and drag it.
And drag it. So unfortunately, you can't see it on the screen at home, but the icon changes to show you a column of text, right? And now it's associated with that, and you can do that ad infinitum.
And it creates the same size of column and everything?
Yeah, by default.
All right,
but if you want to,
that's good.
you can set it otherwise. So for example, if you want to wrap around like a figure, which would be over here, you can set this guy to be smaller, and then it'll rewrap around the other columns of text. Right? So it's pretty sophisticated, but you really have to know about it. It's just a little dinky icon, which doesn't appear offhand to serve any purpose. Now, one thing that's going to happen sometimes is that you'll need, sometimes you want a symbol, right? Like, say this plus thing. Which I'm going to write it as, right? So sometimes you want to use a text as a symbol, you know, the problem is that if it's as text, it's not like really editable, right? Because there's still like the text information. So what you want to do is remove the text property out of it for it to create like outlines, for it to create lines out of it, basically. So to do that, you want to use type and create outlines, right? So before it was text, I could edit it. Now it's just a shape, right? Which I can edit with the shape tools, which I'm going to talk about in just a few seconds. So I'm going to stop it right there, and we can start over. Do you have questions?